Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our reflection on John's Gospel this evening. We are looking at John chapter 16, beginning at verse 16 to the end of chapter 16. So here we go. A little while, and you will see me no longer, and again a little while, and you will see me. So some of his disciples said to one another, "What is it that he says to us? A little while, and you will not see me, and again a little while, and you will see me, and because I am going to the Father." So they were saying, "What does this mean by a little while? We do not know what he is talking about." Jesus knew that they wanted to ask him. So he said to them, "Is this what you are asking yourselves? What I meant by saying, 'A little while, and you will not see me, and again a little while, and you will see me'? Truly, truly, I say to you, you will weep and lament, but the world will rejoice. You will be sorrowful, but your sorrow will turn to joy. When a woman is giving birth, she has sorrow because the hour has come. But when she has delivered the baby, she no longer remembers the anguish for joy that a human being has been born into the world. So also you have sorrow now, but I will see you again, and your hearts will rejoice, and no one will take your joy from you. In that day you will ask nothing of me. Truly, truly, I say to you, whatever you ask of the Father in my name, he will give to you. Until now you have asked nothing in my name. Ask and you will receive, that your joy may be full. I have said these things to you in figures of speech. The hour is coming when I will no longer speak to you in figures of speech, but will tell you plainly about the Father. In that day you will ask in my name, and I do not say that I will ask the Father on your behalf, for the Father himself loves you, because you have loved me and have believed that I came from God. I came from the Father and have come into the world, and now I am leaving the world and going to the Father." His disciples said, "Ah, now you are speaking plainly and not using figurative speech. Now we know that you know all things, and you do not need anyone to question you. This is why we believe you came from God." Jesus answered them, "Do you now believe? Behold, the hour is coming, indeed it has come, when you will be scattered, each to his own home, and you will leave me alone. Yet I am not alone, for the Father is with me. I have said these things to you, that in me you may have peace. In the world you will have tribulation, but take heart, I have overcome the world." So here we are in this chapter, and following on from what Danielle shared last night, we are still in the same context here. Jesus is still hours away from his arrest and from his crucifixion. And he shares here his last gold nuggets as such with the disciples. And I think we find there's so much treasure here in these passages from Jesus. And can you imagine how much Jesus wanted to share with them before he left them? He knew what was coming. And I was thinking about this in the context of other relationships in our lives. And it took me back to the time that I left to go to university. And my mum had come over with me to Scotland. And I remember so clearly that moment when my mum left to get back on the plane to head back across the water. And I've always only thought about that from my own perspective, from my own point of view. And I remember her helping me get ready in the halls of residence. She was sharing bits of advice and all about the public transport. She was giving us pearls of wisdom and practical advice as she prepared to leave me. And as I said, I've only thought about that in my perspective, but now as a parent, and the thought of this being a possibility in the future for me, it does make me think how much I want to prepare my own children for life outside of the family unit as such. And there's time limited, isn't there, as parents, that we only have a period of time that we can teach our kids the things that they need to know before they leave the nest as such. And Jesus knew that his time with his disciples was limited, and he's constantly teaching them and trying to guide them, and to give them the truth. And he's been teaching them for over 3 years, and these are his final moments. And I'm sure, can you imagine Jesus' frustration when the disciples say, "What does he mean?" Did he despair, or did he kind of laugh to himself? It's hard, we just don't know. And later in the passage he says, "At last you believe." Like, they're cutting it fine here. And I'm sure it has been frustrating. But in these final moments, what is he saying here? I just want to pull out 3 things that I just want to reflect on tonight. Firstly, he's forewarning them. He's forewarning them about the sorrow they will face when he's taken from them, but also to tell them about the joy that they will receive when they meet again. It is amazing that Jesus, despite knowing that he is about to face something completely unbearable, that he cares about the sorrow that they will face. That's where his concern lies. Also, he tells us about the purpose of him leaving. And it's access to the Father. And no matter how long that I have been a Christian, this bowls me over. Just listen to the words that Jesus used. He says, "Whatever you ask of the Father in my name, he will give to you. Ask and you will receive. The Father himself loves you." This is mind-blowing if we let it sink in, if we take the time to think about what Jesus has done for us. And I do encourage you, go back and read verses 23 to 28 again, and just read it a few times and let the truth of what Jesus is saying there sink in. And finally, the last point I just want to pull out of this passage is that verse that we hear again and again. And it says in verse 33, the last verse, "I have told you these things so that in me you may have peace. In this world you will have trouble, but take heart, I have overcome the world." Jesus really cares about the state of our hearts. He knows that trouble, distress, tribulation is inevitable for us all. But interestingly, peace is optional in this verse. And it's not that Jesus isn't willing to give it. Jesus is willing to give us this peace, but it's a choice whether we will receive it or not. So will we take heart? Will we choose to trust Jesus? Will we choose to access the Father because of his love for us? Will we take this deep and perfect peace that he has to offer, so that we can coexist in a world of struggle, of conflict, of worry? What an amazing gift he offers to us. Not only access to the Father, but a deep, deep peace despite being in a world of trouble. So let's go to the Father through Jesus and rest in this peace.